What's up, dudes? I finally got my Firebird back together after having it apart all winter. I'll throw a blurb up on the screen if you're interested in seeing exactly what I did, but the bulk of it's just maintenance. The car shouldn't be any faster or slower than it was before. This first clip you're seeing is from a track night in America at NJMP Lightning. This is my first time on track all year, and I was making sure the car felt stable enough to drive to Watkins Glen 2 days later. I also wanted to get my brake bias adjusted at a familiar track since I recently swapped out the factory prop valve for an adjustable one. With the prop valve set about halfway, the brakes needed way less adjustment than I thought, but I started having issues with the trans instead. For some reason I was having a ton of trouble downshifting in the third around T4 and T7. Check it out, you're going to hear me get upset. So I ended up cutting the session short to go investigate in the paddock. One of the things I did over the winter was stretch an OE Tremec shift boot over my Pro 5.0 shifter since it was wide open and collecting debris at the top.
You running into issues?
It's like I'm trying to shift into third, and I feel like I'm hitting third.
And it's kicking back out?
I don't know if I'm going into fifth or if I'm just in neutral. It's like something's kind of fucked, and I don't know what it is.
It turns out that the rubber part of the boot was getting wedged between the stop and the linkage for the shifter, so I just ripped it off, and the problem was solved. I ended up almost matching my personal best in the final session of the day, but unfortunately my sun visor being down ruined most of the footage. I'm going to work on making a camera mount that's a little bit lower so this doesn't happen in the future. Anyway, here's a short clip of me getting greedy with the throttle at T7. So that's it for my shakedown at Lightning. At this point I felt fully warmed up and had enough confidence in the car to finally tackle Watkins Glen, so a couple days later I made the 4-hour trek north. This was my first time ever driving there, and it was overwhelming to say the least, but I still had a great time. The clip that you're seeing is from my second session of the day, and I'm still trying to figure out my braking points. There are no visual cues in a couple hard braking zones, so this is something I'll struggle with throughout the day. The margin for error at this track is very slim because there's not a lot of runoff in a couple key areas. Z06 slid off the track entering the chute, so the black flag comes out. Track cleanup was pretty quick and we eventually were let back out for a few more laps, but traffic was too dense to run anything good. Regardless, I was pretty happy with the mid-216 I ran, but I started to notice some shortcomings with my brakes that only got worse as the day went on. Next up is session 3, which is where I run my fastest lap of the day. The first half of the session is pretty crowded, but I start to get into a groove after lap 8. That's it for session 3. Unfortunately, the fourth and final session got cut short after an open wheel car lost a wheel, so I only got a couple laps in heavy traffic. It do be like that sometimes. That's all I've got for now, but I'll try to make it back to the Glen in the future. My theoretical looked really good, so I'm sure I should be able to break into the 14s pretty easily, especially after I get my brakes in order. I'll catch you on track next time. Peace.